Hello and welcome everybody to PSR TV's broadcast of round 16 of iRacing's Driver World Championship Road Edition. Try and say that with your mouth full. My name's Simon Smith and joining me in the commentary booth today is a certain Frosty Sinclair. Hello there, Frosty.
Hey Simon, how you doing, man? It's been an interesting couple of weeks. Some controversy surrounding the last race, that's for sure. We will have Richard Towler and Derek Woods sitting out the next two races due to some controversy. Choice of a certain line that was definitely controversial in that last race. So the iRacing officials have determined that they will be sitting out this race, which could have major implications on the overall finishing order. It is remain to be seen, so it should be interesting going into these last three races.
Yep, it certainly is. Of course, we didn't notice at the end of the last race, but Gregor Huttu actually did win the entire championship. So congratulations first and foremost, of course, to Gregor Huttu for doing that. With Richard Towler absent for the next two races, that does put potentially Ilka Happler within a shouting chance of snatching second at the last possible moment down in the final race. And Derek Wood wasn't particularly in the championship hunt anyway, but he will slip down the order, of course, because of that. So we're set up really, now that Huttu's run, everyone can just go hell for leather, and Huttu will probably be in a party atmosphere. I'm sure he'll still want to win here at Watkins, Glen here today. We're running the boot configuration. I think we'll be in for a good slipstreaming fun action all the way through to the checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely, and good mention in Gregor there. He has definitely sealed the championship. The Fat Lady has sung. And speaking of the Fat Lady, we were actually supposed to be joined in the booth today with Dom DeHaan. Sadly, he couldn't make it due to new baby issues, so sorry he couldn't make it tonight. But going to be some drama here. The battle for third and potentially second still far from over in this championship. Gregor is locked up first, obviously, and that $10,000. Congratulations to him. He was actually racing from the United States, from what I understand, the last race, and all he needed was a fifth place finish. Finished fourth on limited practice and on a system he was not used to, and he has sealed the deal. So the Fat Lady has sung on this one. Gregor Huttu is going to be the first ever Drivers' World Championship champion. So congrats go out to Gregor.
Absolutely, and we're just getting ready for gridding here today. Now, pole position was taken by Gregor Huttu, surprise, surprise, with a 1:27.556. So note that down for you to practice on iRacing when you're busy in your practice sessions at home. The entire grid was separated, minus Jan Ziliakas, by just 2.2 seconds. So this is the cream of the crop that we've got going for you today. We've just got 10 seconds left before the grid getaway, but Gregor Huttu is in that all-important pole position. Note that will particularly mean an awful lot here today, because I'm looking forward to some slipstreaming action, especially down the back straight. And let's take you through the grid now. So, Gregor Huttu then in pole position, as I've said before. Starting alongside him will be Sean Purdy, who is just under 100th, or just over, sorry, 100th of a second behind. Third on the grid is Ilka Happler, who is busy eyeing up that second place overall in the championship. Fourth is Darren Marsh, who once again continuously improving this year, looking good again. Dion Vergers, fifth on the grid, looking rather feisty for another top 5 finish from Dion. Sixth is Ian Lake, looking again like one of his best outings so far this season. Martin Mijon is in seventh, with Peter Reid eighth, who was just chatting to us before the race. He's hoping to have a good one. Alexi Aloma, who done a great debut all the way back in Brands Hatch, I believe it was, is back for some more in 9, with Ray Alfala rounding out the top 10 for us, Steve.
Absolutely, and that's Ian Lake's best qualifying position, I believe, of the season, so congratulations to him. Running in the 11th spot, or starting in the 11th spot, Ryan Murray, and Mark Payne right behind him with Ryan Heitcotter. All those guys of Team Podium Assault, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Someone's name I cannot pronounce. I apologize. I will have to do some research on that and come back. Its last name is Honzig, I believe. In the 14th spot, he is a newcomer to the series, followed by John Prather, Matt Sintel, Brad Davies in the 17th spot, David Serwal in 18th, and Milos Milokovic in 19th, followed by Florian Goddard in the 20th spot.
And just finishing off the order, Mauro Bisegli is in 21st, Alice Simunek's 22, but not taking the start. I believe will be coming from the pit lane. Gerd Hoffer is 23rd, with Daniel Almeida 24, Andrea Boldi is 25, Richard Crozier down the order, 26, with Matteo Calistani, another one starting from the pit lane in 27. I just see him connect just now. Tim Holgate is 28th, with George Sandman 29, Aurelio Leonetti rounds out 30th. On the grid is Thomas Prodocki, Ben Cornett 32nd, Jan Ziliakas 23rd, and Dave Hoffman failed to set a time but will be starting 24th on the grid. 34th.
And actually, I think for this race, Simon, we have a in-car reporter, Peter Reed, who will be trying to report on hopefully some non-hectic situations out there on the track. I think we might have Peter in here with the booth, in the booth with us now. Peter, how do you feel about the race going in?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I reckon I'll do quite well. I think top 10, I should be able to do that. Just got to worry about pit stops. Haven't really practiced them that much, so I just think I'm a bit unconfident about that, but other than that, I'll be good.
All right, Peter, we'll let you go. We're coming to the green here in a couple of corners, and we appreciate you being there. We will check back with you later in the race.
Thanks, mate.
So that's Peter Reed there, who's going to be giving us updated progress throughout the race. I'm quite excited with that opportunity, as here they come around and out of the final corner. Pace car's going to pull in. You've got Gregor Huttu to your pit road side, and Sean Purdy is furthest away, and we are green here for go at Watkins Glen. Huttu immediately cutting across to pull away from what has been a great start from Purdy, and Hapler's taking a dive down the inside, unable to clinch second. A couple of cars running wide from the curb there, but Huttu there, the perfect getaway to take the lead here at Watkins, getting far enough to not actually have a tow coming round onto the back straight. Perfect stuff. Purdy second, Hapler third, and then who's that? Marsh is clinging in right behind there, Frosty, and it's all going to be go down the end of this straight.
Pretty good clean start there. We had a couple of guys start from pit lane. Gerd Hoffer was one of them. Interesting to see what exactly happened there. I kind of missed it. Looks like Matteo Calistani as well, and I believe Les Simonek also started from pit lane, so those guys are a bit back, but other than that, a pretty clean start.
Yeah, and Darren Marsh there slips past Ilka Hapler for third position at the end of that straight, so that is vital there for Hapler's kind of attack for second place in the championship. He does not want any more cars between himself and the win. Huttu though currently leading, Purdy second, Marsh third, Hapler 4, Burgess 5, Ian Lake stays 6, Alexia Loma has made up 2 places at the start to 7, Martin Mijon down 1 in 8, Ariel Falla up 1 in 9, and he's just got past there, Martin Mijon, and our pitman, or our reporterman, Peter Reed, has slipped down into 10 at the moment, but they are all safely round lap 1 so far, and there's plenty more to go. 50 laps here today at Watkins.
Absolutely. It's going to be a clear 2-stop strategy for all of these guys. The key is going to be when they stop. The thing that Ilka is going to look at right now, he might have lost a spot there on the start, but what he is really concerned about is Sean Purdy and Ben Cornett. Cornett is far enough back to where he doesn't really have to worry about him. Ben right now currently running in, I believe, the 23rd spot. However, Sean running in second, though Sean is quite a ways back. So really just solid finishes from here out for Ilka. Probably top 5s is going to be enough to secure the 3rd overall position and $1,000 cash at the end of the series. Looks like Tim Holgate, we might have lost him from the race. Not quite sure what happened there, but it looks like he has left the building. So Tim Holgate, unfortunately, race for him, and he is out.
So that's a shame there for Tim Holgate, but especially after only 1 lap, when you've been practicing all that time. We're currently watching P9 at the Martin Mijon, who's got a little cluster of cars behind, one of them being our pit reporter man himself, Peter Reid just ahead, and Ryan Murray not too far behind as they come onto the straight. Ryan Murray, of course, in his brand new livery, tucked right up behind, and he's looking good for a push out into the 90 down at turn 1, but no, thinking better of it. But, well, actually running quite wide there. With all this talk of lines from the previous race, you have to wonder what's safe and what's not these days to make sure that everyone is playing the right ball. Murray right up behind here for a potential slipstream pass down at the end of the straight here, Frosty.
Yeah, Ryan's definitely trying to attack. He's looking for some good finishes towards the end of the season. Meanwhile, out in front, Gregor Huttu doing what Gregor does. Back at home now, back in Finland, and in his comfort zone, pulling away from Sean Purdy in that second spot. Talked to Gregor a little bit before the race, and I think the only thing that is going to slow him down is possibly women named Casey, who he seems to be scared of.
I don't even ask with that. Third place is looking quite juicy as well. Darren Marsh, quite clearly they got the jump very early on Ilkka Happler, and Ian Verges is just hanging in behind there as well. But he's now losing pace. He's dropping way off of Sean Purdy already, and he's kind of collecting a little gaggle of cars behind him. You've got Ilkka Happler, Dion Verges, Alexi Aloma, and Ian Laker just about to join onto the back of that battle as well. And I think this is all going to kick off next time we go down the back straightaway.
Just a quick rundown of the top 5 here. Simon, Gregor Huttu out in front, Sean Purdy in second, Ilkka Happler in the third spot now, Darren Marsh in fourth, Dion Vergers in the fifth spot.
Now you can see on our lovely new graphic on the screen there, ta-da, complete with mugshots. There you go, you can see what all these people look like. But here comes Ilkka. This is looking like a decisive move here, right up into the slipstream, pulling out alongside Marsh. Can he outbrake and keep going down the outside? No, he thinks better of it. Or does he? He's trying to cling on around the outside. Happler's going to go for the inside. It's the shortest route. Side by side down the next corner. We're starting to get into the boot section. And Happler keeping the grip around the outside. This is the beauty of Watkins again. You can do side-by-side action and get away with it. But Happler, once again, has the inside for what is going to be coming up for the hill. And he's got the position. And that is third place back for Ilkka Happler. Marsh back down to 4. And Verges fancying a little bit of action in the tussle.
And what Ilkka has to be really careful of, Simon, is to not damage the car or drop out of the race. He has no drops left. He missed a couple of races earlier in the season. So all the races from here on out, this one including the last 2, they all count. And if he wants a shot at that third place, he has got to keep the car clean and out of trouble, because his teammate out in front of him right now running in the second spot, Sean Purdy, has got a good shot at that third place as well, as if Ilkka has any issues. So the main thing for Ilkka is he's got to race fast and clean and keep himself out of trouble the rest of the way.
Absolutely, and last time by, we're now on lap 5. Gregor Huttu 1:28.901, Sean Purdy a 1:29.179, and Ilkka Happler a 1:31. So that was just how much Darren Marsh was holding them up. I know they were side by side that last lap, but Marsh is now looking very threatened by Dion Verges, who obviously wants to follow his teammate through. I'm keeping my BDI, and Alexi Aloma really impressed me in the last couple of races that he's taken part in. And I think Alexi could very well be a dark horse. There's Marsh running a little bit wide there, and giving Verges a little bit of a sniff around in the rear to see whether he can place himself in a good spot to get back through. And Ian Lake keeping a watching brief behind. Raoul Fowler leads the next group in 8th position. And I believe we've lost Mauro Bisegli, actually. I believe it looks like he's crashed out from somewhere. That's car number 21. I'll see if I can spot where that happened.
While you're looking at that, I'm going to give some lap times for the leaders, Simon. Gregor, 1:28.9 his fast lap. He backed it up with another 1:28.9 on his 5th lap. Go back here to Sean Purdy here and see what he is turning.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see what happened to Mauro, but he did indeed put it in the wall, because plenty of people in the spectator mode were busy telling me all about it. But that's unfortunate there for Morrow, and he becomes our second retirement of the day, although it looks as though Thomas Brockie has also been in the wars because he's dropped significantly off the back of everyone else and behind all the people that even started in the pit lane. So not too good there for him on his debut either.
Getting back to Sean here, last 3 laps for Sean, 129.1. Not that far off of Huttu's 128.9s, so he is definitely hanging in there. He is trying to hang on to Huttu's back door, hoping for any mistakes. Maybe they can get to traffic. Maybe traffic will disrupt Gregor just a bit. But then again, you never know what the fuel strategies are between these guys. Gregor may be heavier on fuel, though Gregor's strategy throughout the season seems to be to try to split the race up into equal parts as much as possible. So he is usually on a pretty medium fuel type strategy. So Sean right now doing a really good job of hanging on to the back door of Gregor as they are starting to pull away from third place Ilkka Happila and the field.
Indeed, it's turned into a two-car race up the front. Fantastic battle going on for P14. It's car number 25, if we can take a quick look at him. It's Jaroslav Honzik, and he was just about holding off Brad Davies, who's car number 16, just running behind in 15th position. One of my favourite liveries. But it looks like he's pulled ever so slightly out. But I think Brad Davies has got a much lower downforce setup. He seems to be able to sneak right up on the straights. But then Jaroslav's just about able to hold him off round the corners. And once again there, Davies taking a little look, but not quite able to punch it on through. And it's interesting just to see how Watkins, again, everyone's kind of pulled off into groups, because as soon as you break the toe, you lose a good half a second almost or so down these straights. And you can't slipstream each other through. So everyone really breaking off into little bitty pieces. Someone's gone off somewhere actually on the track. I'm just working out who it is. It's Ryan Murray actually. Car number 12 is facing the wrong way, just coming out of the, well, he's in the boot section. He's dropped all the way down to last. Wonder if he'll be able to get that going again. Car number 12, Ryan Murray. This new lever is not proving to be very lucky for him, is it?
Yeah, I believe Ryan had a self-spin there, potentially thinking about what Rachel was thinking about his performance, and lost it a bit there out on track.
The last thing you want is your girlfriend to be worried about your performance, and Ryan Murray's just about managing to hold his car back into the pits. Elsewhere though, up front, the battle for fourth has had a switch for position. Dion Vergers has got past Darren Marsh in the slipstreaming somewhere and has now moved up into fourth position, but he's not been able to get past or to be able to get away like Ilkka Happila has, as we look at now Peter Reid having a look at Ralph Falafrosty.
Yeah, Peter's first race in the DWC. Peter is a very accomplished racer. He has crushed many other series in and around iRacing as well as R Factor, and he is given a shot here. He wasn't a big fan of these cars, never really could get a good grasp on these cars, but he is definitely taking a look down the inside of Ray now. And Peter, he's an amazing talent, and the kid's only 15 years old, so he's only going to get better. Peter, he's an awesome addition to the Orion race team, and I wouldn't be surprised at all, Simon, if he winds up at the top 5 or very close to it by the end of the day, even though he's struggled a little bit in practice trying to find pace.
Well, he's certainly not looking like he's we'll see what's going on with him, but he seems to be right up behind Raul Falla, so he's not looking at bad pace at all at the moment. And well, for someone that's 15 years old, although you told me he was 12 when I started saying naughty words in front of him, cover his ears. But yes, Peter right up behind now, and it'll be very interesting to see what he makes of these cars now as he goes in from the slipstream. Just up ahead there looks to be action as well, but here comes Peter Reid. That looks decisive. Nope, he's backed out of that one. Raul Falla going quite wide out of the corner. That's going to allow Peter Reid to have a second stab potentially round the outside. If he can hold it, he can get the inside for the next line, but no, he tucks himself back in behind again. And what will he do down this next corner? The beauty of Watkins again is you can go side by side just like that and get the position through, and Rael Fowler, he's not tried to cut him off there. That's very, very gentlemanly like at all indeed, but that's going to leave him a little bit, well no, he's actually on the advantage for the next corner, isn't he? So job done there for Peter Reid. Now up into 8th. Next on his list, Ian Lake.
Yeah, Peter he's not shy at all. He's going to attack as hard as he can, and he is going to go after all these guys, and he's going to give them a handful or a mirror full, better yet, of his car until he can, put enough pressure on them to wonder where he's going. And he did a great job there. You know, they always say you cannot pass somebody if all you do is follow him, and Peter was all over Ray and showing him all kinds of different looks, and great passer by Peter Reid.
Indeed, and what he done with that was he kept it completely fresh as well. Otherwise, the more you spend behind people, the more they get to know exactly where you are and exactly where your strengths and weaknesses are around the track. He made sure that he was never in the same place at the same time, and therefore just catching people off guard really got him past Rael Fowler indeed, and that's just allowed Martin Mijon to pull onto the back of them. And Mark Payne, who we've not mentioned all race, has now joined that little battle as well. Peter Reid ever so slightly pulling away. He's got a good second to make up on Ian Lake, Alexia Loma and Darren Marsh, who are dropping away from Dion Verges. Once again, it's like Professor Clumps. We've got little clumps of cars running around, and they're all just working in tandem with each other to try and draft themselves up to the next group ahead. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, all clumps except for possibly the first 2 cars. Gregor Huttu doing what he does, pulling away out in front. Sean Purdy, though, doing a great job of hanging on to Gregor, only 2 seconds back now, just over 2 seconds back on lap 10. This is a 50-lap race, so these guys are going to pit twice at least. Anybody's guess of when they're going to come in, because everybody will split it up differently, but Sean doing an amazing job of hanging on there to Gregor Huttu, his fastest lap of the race, being Sean Purdy, a 1:28.9, I believe. Take a look at the replay here, Simon. Let me see if I can catch up what's going on. Looks like Martin Bacchon, I believe he is of Team My3ID. So we are taking a look at the replay now. Oh, smacking the wall there. That's not going to help your lap time, Simon.
No, not at all. Now he's going to be driving a shopping trolley after that kind of accident. What that has done is removed him from the battle that he was having with Rael Fowler and dropped him down to 16th position, in right amongst with Brian Heitcotter, John Prather. Then you've got Mijon, and he's got Ben Cornett, who once again is having one of his burns from the back. He's done very, very well actually to when he qualified down in, I think it was 23rd potentially. He's now up to 17th already. But no, that's not quite gone right to plan there for Martin Mijon, as we are now on, or about to be coming round for lap 12. Gregor Huttu is leading by 2.5 seconds from Sean Purdy. Third place is Ilka Hapler, who has now pulled out a nice 4-second gap over Dion Verges, who is pulling out almost a second clear of Darren Marsh, with Alexia Loma and Ian Lake, and a certain Peter Reid has already caught up onto the back of that lot, and I think he's going to be sizing up Ian Lake quite niftily and nicely soon.
Yeah, Peter and Ian, both country mates there from Australia. They're both driving for Upside Down, so that's always difficult. But you would expect a battle from these guys before the race is over. We have a quick rundown of the top 10 for all you fans out there. Gregor Huttu out in front, Sean Purdy in second, Ilka Hapler third, Dion Vergers in the 4th spot. So Team Orion running 2, 3, and 4 in this one. Darren Marsh in the 5th spot, Alexia Loma in 6th, Ian Lake in 7th, Peter Reid running in the 8th spot in his first DWC appearance, Rael Fowler in the 9th spot, and Mark Payne, a podium assault, in the 10th spot.
Yep, all looking good, as here comes Peter Reid there, taking a different line to Ian Lake for the second corner in a row. He's trying to offset him, I believe, but what that has done is allow Rael Fowler, who's desperate probably for a little bit of revenge on Peter Reid, to have another go. It would be great if at some point we can get a chat to Peter Reid to see how it felt to be overtaking in these cars. As here we go on board with Peter. So
Yeah, Peter giving chase to Ian, but he does have to keep an eye on his back door there with Ray Alfala, especially on the left-hand corners, because Ray is a master at that, being an old guy.
Going round in circles and stuff.
And stuff.
Just behind this battle, I'll just keep going run down of the order. Jaroslav Honzik is in 11 with Matt Santel 12, Brad Davies 13, Brian Blackcotter 14, John Prather 15, Ben Cornett 16, who was past Martin Majone for 17. Richard Crozier is up to 18 with Daniel Almeida 19, and Milos Mijokovic in 20th. David Searoy is 21, Baldy 22nd, Goddard 23, Sandin 24, Kalastani from the pits 25, Simunek from the pits 26, Leonetti is 27, Ziliakas 28, Hoffra 29, Hoffman in 30th, and Prodrocki and Murray are your last two runners, with Mauro Basegli and Tim Holgate, your two retirements so far.
Just wanted to give a quick mention here, Simon, as Peter is definitely closing up on Ian. It's going to be a battle, that's for sure, before too long. I'm not sure if that's a lap car. I think that's Alexei Aloma. It is Alexei Aloma right in front of him. These guys are starting to bunch it up. So all these guys are going to be in a good battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So it's a good place to watch. But wanted to give a mention of the amount of concentration it takes on these guys to do these races. As a DWC driver myself that actually decided to... Oh, Peter taking a look there on Ian. But decided to not compete this year. The amount of concentration that it takes from these guys is unbelievable. Most of these guys are racing from home, either at their work desk, and Peter's really on Ian now. As they go down the back straight, he's going to have a good slipstream as Ian's trying to snake him. The amount of concentration it takes is unbelievable. Most of these guys will finish these races. They will be soaking wet with sweat, even though they're sitting at a desk or possibly a home cockpit. The intensity of these races is just unbelievable. As Alfala upside the outside of Peter Reed trying to take a look. Good battle here, four-way battle for overall the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th spot.
Crikey, all this four ways and sweat sounds like a movie I once saw, as Peter Reed is going from offensive to defensive in one fell swoop. And look at Alfala trying to just jink out and almost put off Peter Reed, but Reed's too busy looking in front of him, not in his mirrors. Oh, there's contact between the two. Alfala there just catching the back end of Reed, and I think it's Alfala that ends up worse off from that actually, but too close to call there, Frosty?
Well, I think what happened was Ian kind of got a little bit loose, kind of backed it up. Peter tried to save it, and there was some contact either between Peter and Ray, just because of the accordion effect there, and it was all unexpected and it happened really quick.
That's a shame there. You can't beat a bit. Well, you know that you're going to concertina, especially into one of these big stopping gaps that you've got round Watkins Glen. You don't do anything by halves round here. As what is Ian?
Peter's in the inside. He's going to go by Ian now.
That was bizarre. I don't know if that was just wrong-footed Ian coming out of two, but that was just wrong. It was too wide in the corner, and Peter Reed just blasting past there. That gives him 7th position. Ray Alfala straight on the back of Ian Lake for 8 and 9. But yeah, Ian Lake, that must have been a mistake there, but Peter Reed taking full advantage, and Reed runs wide himself. I know you can take different lines obviously around this Watkins Glen circuit, but that to me is not the prime line at all, as Lake there having a look at being offensive and defensive all at the same time. Fantastic stuff, and Alexei Aloma is unable to get away from the lot of them.
Yeah, make no mistake about it, he's young and he's small and he's wiry, but he is a beast out there on the track. I mean, he will take it to you, and he's relentless. He won't stop. He's like a UFC fighter that just takes you to the ground and just keeps pounding on your head until you give up. So Peter up into the 6th spot now, and you can bet that's not where he's going to want to rest. He's going to go after a top 5 at least.
Here comes Ray Alfala down at turn 1. We've yet to see a real move down there yet, and that is pushing Ian Lake off onto the curbs. Ray Alfala has the inside, and Ian Lake, what is going on? He's tumbling down the order quickly and almost obediently as he drops behind Ray Alfala there, straight into the slipstream he goes, and here comes Mark Payne, who's behind, and he's in 10th position, keeping a watching brief. Side by side we have Ray Alfala and Ian Lake. Which one's going to make it into the corner best? Lake has more speed, but is going round the outside. Alfala just about holds the line, and Mark Payne desperately trying to find a way past the pair of them. There's nowhere to go. Oh, maybe he does now. Lake running wide, and here comes Mark Payne, and Ray Alfala having a dodgy exit, and Payne is past Ian Lake, down from 8 to 10 in one fell swoop. Okay, so Ray Alfala then, was Ray Alfala car number 8 in position 9 there, getting a little tank slapper on, almost coming out of that corner, and it has allowed Mark Payne and Ian Lake to get back onto the back of them. Just behind these in P11 you've got Jaroslav Honzik holding up Brad Davies and Matt Santel, an equally fraught battle as that's Jaroslav Honzik, car 25, first one into the pit lane. So first lap of pit stops, lap 16, or first round of pit stops this will be, and that is, who's that behind? That's John Prather popping in as well, so that releases a couple of guys out, and Martin Mijon elsewhere just off the screens is off the track again. But pit stops in that's relatively cutting the race practically into 3 nice and equal slots. So we shall look to see exactly what our leaders are going up to. Gregor Huttu still leading this race by 4.2 seconds from Sean Purdy in second. Ilka Hapler is still third. Leon Verges is still 4. And Darren Marsh is still 5. Alexei Aloma is 6. Peter Reid is now 7. Ray Alfala is 8. Mark Payne is 9. Ian Lake right behind him in 10. Brad Davies is 11. Matt Santel is 12. Brian Heitkotter is in 13th in car number 5, and he has just got past. Who is that? It is Ben Cornett. Sorry, going around the outside of Brian Heitkotter. That's for 13th and 14th position, and that will soon be 12th because Matt Santel had an awful exit coming out of that. Ben Cornett, car number 7, taking 2 positions in 1.5 corners. So Ben Cornett, this race may not have started well for him, way down the field on the grid, but he's certainly making decent light work of all of the cars. Oh no, he's not making light work of that barrier, off into the barrier, and is he going to retire there? Because, yeah, he's pulling down to a halt. Ben Cornett out of the race. Well, if ever that was a commentator's curse.
Yeah, absolutely, and Ben, that's going to end his, probably going to end his hopes whatsoever, because he had already used his 2 drops of any chance at all of getting 3rd place overall, which he had a shot of not more than 2 or 3 races ago. He was sitting in the 3rd spot in the driver's seat, and Ben, unfortunately, now out of the race. So now it looks like the 3rd spot overall in the championship is going to be between Sean Purdy and Ilka Hapola. And right now, Sean Purdy doing an amazing job of hanging on to Gregor Huttu, only about 4.5 seconds back.
Pit stop action up and down the field. Richard Crozier, Thomas Prodolki, Milos Mijolkovic, Florian Goddard, Andrea Boldi all in the pits, as is Dave Hoffman, and I believe we're going to see Gregor Huttu in as well. Is he in? Yes, he is. Our race leader, Gregor Huttu, is into the pits on lap 18 of the Grand Prix here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Gregor heading into the pits now. Ilka stayed out. Looks like Sean Purdy might have followed him in. Yes, Sean Purdy has followed Gregor into the pits. So Ilka will inherit the lead. Maybe Ilka on a heavier fuel strategy here to try to leapfrog Sean. I know that there's been a lot of talk between the Orion guys, me being part of the team as well. Sean does the Lions work on the setups. Per se, he usually starts quicker than anybody as far as working on a setup. Ilka comes in and helps tweak. David Serwa, who doesn't have a lot of time with 3 kids and 2 jobs, does an amazing job running in 10th place overall in the DWC. He usually kind of takes what he can get, and also the team also works with Richard Towler as well on setup. So but Sean usually starts and does the lion's share of the work on the setups. And so props to him. He's having a great run out there today, and hopefully he can possibly even pull out a win.
Well, just while you've been chatting away, Peter Reid has crashed his car, and it's not gone quite to plan. It was very bizarre. It almost looked like a malfunction of his steering wheel or something, because he'd already exited the corner he was in and smacked the wall, and I think he's out. So Peter, here you are in the commentary box. What happened?
No, I'm just looking at the replay now. Just a bit of oversteer, and I just corrected too much, and right rear's bent up in the man of the race, unfortunately.
Peter, how much of that has to do with you having to drive upside down?
Well, I corrected the wrong way, so then therefore I would have gone into the wall and not into the other wall.
That didn't really make any sense at all.
Yeah, well, it doesn't in upside down world.
That's true. Good point.
Oh, well, I had a good run today. Really good battle with Al Feller at the front. That was terrific, especially the first couple of laps with Murray and Martin. That was fantastic. But I thank SimSport, Buttkicker, SimGear, all the sponsors. They did a great job today.
Peter, it was great seeing you out there, man. It was about time. You definitely have the pace to run in the top 5 in this series, and you proved it out there today. Too bad you had some bad luck.
Yeah, shit happens. Oh, pardon my language. Stuff happens.
And we apologise for all little peeps, obviously, out there. Well, you had to go at me for cussing at him off air beforehand. He comes on with filthier language than I've heard. Anyway, Ilka Hapler has been into the pits while he was leading there and has dropped back down into third. We have that now. We'll give back to the lead. Gregor Huttu. So, status normal. The world has not come to an end. We're all right. Not like last week, where it was so... I know Huttu was out of his comfort zone and not in his comfy chair and not with his normal equipment. But it did seem like the world had gone a little bit skew-whiff when Huttu wasn't leading. We'll just wait for everyone to come around and correct themselves to see who's going to pop up top. And I believe it will be Gregor Huttu that takes the lead on lap 21 again. Yes, it is.
Gregor's been amazing this season, obviously. That goes without saying. Probably had a really good shot of going 18 for 18 out of 18 races. And taking a look, it looks like Matt Sintel probably has not pitted yet. Right now running currently in third place, which I believe is the highest position he has run all season. Great job for Matt, regardless if he pitted or not.
Yeah, he's just exiting the pits now, right into the battle where he was before. Sintel, of course, car 23 in the lovely blue and yellow tipped-nosed car, and he's got a very feisty Brad Davies right behind him, and this will be interesting to see what Brad Davies can do, because Matt Sintel is on cold tyres and he's just come out of the pits. He's not quite up to speed, and if Brad Davies can nail him down at the back straight, indeed he does. That was a good move there by Brad Davies, and that's one that he needed to clear because he was behind Sintel before those pit stops. Oh, it's Brad Davies. It's very sideways there indeed. That's what I like to call a Tokyo drift. And overall win there for Davies. Next up is Jaroslav Honzik, who was running 11th before the pit stops and had a massive train of cars running behind him. So we'll see exactly what's happened there. A loser from the pits is Ian Lake, who has dropped off the back of Raoul Faller and Mark Payne, who are just a couple of seconds ahead of this little trio that we were watching just there.
Yeah, Gregor out in front, as Gregor does, and he has actually stretched out the lead since the pit stops. So just doing what he does, just out in front, pulling away slowly by slowly. Putting time in between him and Sean Purdy, though Sean is doing a great job. Sean realized coming into this last 3 races, his only shot of getting a podium finish into the money for iRacing was to win all 3 races. And he's doing everything he can, but he's got the best sim racer in the world out in front of him, and Gregor is showing why. So Gregor out in front and pulling away.
Great battle going on for P4 and 5 there. Dion Verges has just overtaken Darren Marsh last lap around, but I don't think Darren Marsh is quite finished with it yet, because he was having a good go down the back straight. That's over P4 and 5. Darren Marsh is car number 6 in the lovely turquoisey blue. And that's looking quite nifty, as was the battle for P7 with Raoul Fowler and Mark Payne as well. So again, the group's marching 2 by 2, and Darren Marsh particularly was looking very, very beaten and whipped by the end of the first stint. I wonder if his tyres went off particularly quickly, so he needs to make hay while the sun shines with his tyres. So now that the pit stops have just worked their way out and we're just getting a little guest into the booth, let me take a quick rundown of the top 10, exactly where they are. Gregor Huttu is leading on lap 23 of 50, so almost coming up to half distance. He leads by 8.4 seconds from Sean Purdy. Third place is Ilka Hapler, 15 seconds off of Huttu. Fourth place is Dion Verges, who is just narrowly holding off Darren Marsh, and Verges needing to go defensive, placing his car right in the middle of the track, telling Darren Marsh, you've got to go one way or the other, I'm not giving it to you. And Marsh there having to go very, very wide, hoping that he could then get the inside slingshot for the next turn. But Dion Verges is a man with a very wise head on his shoulders and is able to close off the lines nicely. Gerd Hoffra has just disconnected from the game, so we'll work out what's going on with him in a second. Behind this little battle though that we've got for 4th and 5th, Alexei Aloma is 6th, Raoul Fowler 7, Mark Payne 8, Ian Lake 9, and Yaroslav Honzik rounds out the top 10.
And actually, Simon, as you were announcing all of that, Simon, Ray and Mark Payne went side by side for about 4 turns. So great battle there for 7th and 8th place, as we are joined now in the booth by Richard Towler. Richard is, to say the least, one of the more controversial racers within sim racing for the past few years. He has had a great run in the Drivers' World Championship. The only guy to win a race besides Gregor Huttu, and unfortunately he has run into a bit of trouble and not going to make the last couple of races. But Richard, what do you think about the race out here so far today?
Yeah, it's been a really good race. There's been some good battles throughout the field, and I've really enjoyed watching it. Although it's a shame I'm watching it, but at the same time it's been really fun to watch. There's been some good battles from the front to the back of the field.
What do you, if anybody would have an opinion on what it's going to take to catch Gregor, you would. So tell us, what is it going to take to catch Gregor out there? I mean, does he have a better handle on the setups on these cars? Is he just flat out the best? You know, what is it about him that has made him dominate this series the way he has?
Well, he's just a really, really good driver. He's like insanely quick and he's consistent and he doesn't make mistakes, you know? So it's just going to take some really good dedication next season to be able to bring it to him. And I think we'll be using the Formula 1 car as well, which should drive a little bit different to the Dallara. So, but yeah, we've just got to try harder. And I think this current car really suits his driving style. But at the same time, that's no excuse. We've all got to beat him, you know, driving what we've got. But you can't take any. But you basically can't take anything away from him because he's done an awesome job this season, and is clearly one of the best sim racers we've ever seen, really. So good for him.
Yeah, since about 1997, Gregor's been at the top, or right there at the top. Going into the next season, are there any of the guys coming up from the Pro Series that would, potentially have a shot to give Gregor a run for his money, or do you feel like, obviously you're a confident guy, do you feel like that you're going to have the best shot at Gregor coming around next season than a Drivers' World Championship?
I think it's really hard to tell. It seems there's 3 or 4 guys in the Pro Series at the moment. We've got like Luca, Jesse, we've got Max, I think, and so it's going to be a lot harder at the front next season. It's going to be really hard to pull off top 5s or top 3s in the race with these guys racing now. But it just makes the series even better, really, and it's what the series needs. It's what we want.
Absolutely, no doubt. The main thing is you want the best drivers in the world competing in one place, and iRacing is doing a great job of putting all those guys out in one spot. These guys just have to kind of work their way up if they weren't here to begin with. Simon, do you have anything for Rich?
Not really.
All right. Well, that's great interviewing skills. I'm sure I'll have another question if Rich, you want to hang out for just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I'm here.
Get back to the action just a bit. I would imagine we're going to be coming up on, well, probably still a little bit before pit stops. Rich, actually, you can probably comment on this. When do you expect guys to make their second stop?
It seems first run, guys started pitting on lap 16, but then you had guys like Gregor and Sean went a couple of laps longer than that, so it just depends what they've chosen for the middle stint. It's really hard to tell.
Mark Payne and Ray Alfala still battling it out there. It's a good battle for 7th and 8th. Also, I hear there's a good battle for, I think, 11th and 12th.
Yeah, it's Davies and Centel are having a good old ding-dong. We've lost Ryan Murray from the race, unfortunately. It happened a little while ago while he was talking. Sorry, that's why I was busy watching what was going on track, and I was excitable, so sorry there. To Richard, I was too busy with my beady eyes on track. I do have some questions, but I shall get to them in a second. But yes, the action's been coming thick and fast on track. Not only have we got the battle between Ray Alfala and Mark Payne over 7 and 8, they are now being caught by everyone else who's pushing onto the back, because Ian Lake is being pushed by Jaroslav Hunslik, who's being pushed by Brad Davies, who's being pushed by Matt Centel. And the whole lot, 7 through to 12, are very, very quickly all closing in with each other, and you can see them all in one camera shot. And this is going to set up for a corking second stop race, and that's going to be put down not just to slipstreaming action, but who's probably going to be able to either pit first and get out into clean air and therefore put in quick laps while they can with no pressure and no hassle and get on with it, or who's going to pit last and use a slipstream to kind of push their way up the group and emerge at the head of it again.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I do have a... Oh, wow. Mark Payne and Alfala still really battling it out. Payne trying to go to the outside. These guys are battling like it's for the lead, and it's the last lap. Amazing battle for 7th and 8th place, if BSR TV can catch that a bit. Also, I do have a question for Towler. Towler right now currently leading the Drivers' World Championship Oval Series sanctioned by NASCAR. Richard, you've got 2 races left with the lead. Davies is breathing down your neck. Talk a little bit about how stressful that is, and I know you guys are probably good friends, and just talk about that whole dynamic of that series a bit.
It is fairly stressful, especially when it's that close. Like, there's only 33 points in it, and we've just got a couple of races left now. But yeah, as you said, Brad's been a really good friend. We've known each other for years, and if it can come down between me and him, we can't really ask for any more, really, because we've been racing for years together, and he's a really good competitor.
Yeah, I know you guys have the utmost respect for each other, as you should, because both guys are amazing on the oval courses. 2 races left. If you guys haven't checked that out, go to iRacing.com. If you guys are watching this for the first time, wondering what this is, it's internet simulated racing that's much like a flight simulator. These things are very complex. It's not a video game at all. Is Mark Payne looking to the inside of Ray Alfala again? Going to make it stick this time. Much more complicated than just a video game on Xbox or anything. These are real-life physics. The cars have been weighed from the real-life cars. Physics data has been taken from the real-life teams. And this is more than just a video game. It's a training tool for real-life drivers. And these are the best in the world that you guys are watching out here today. And iRacing has put it all together. So if you're interested in trying it out, go over to iRacing.com and get yourself a subscription. You won't be sorry, that's for sure.
Okay, so while this all goes on, we're on lap 28, going on to lap 29. We are with the leader now. Gregor Huttu currently leads by 11 seconds, and you're watching Matt Centel at the moment. His last lap by was a 129.320. Ilka Hapler 129.2 for the first time really all race has actually marked in a little 10th. Dion Vergers is fourth with a 129.2 as well. So Huttu there actually losing out ever so slightly. Darren Marshall 129.6, Aloma at 129.9, and Mark Payne, who's got past now Ray Alfala for 7, a 129.6. So everyone really kind of beating around the same time. Ian Lake is now 9 and is under heavy assault from Jaroslav Honzik. Matt Santel is now into the slipstream of the pair of them. Look at them all push to the inside because they're desperate to defend that inside line. They pull out almost free wide down into the back straight into the next turn. And well, Matt Santel is looking good there to have a go at Honzik. Should he not be able to make the pass on Lake, but he has. He's got the inside line for the next corner. Honzik, fantastic overtaking move there. Ian Lake is now wrong-footed. Can Matt Santel take advantage, or will he in the end yield to Brad Davies? The whole toing and throwing and pushing of pressure from and to each other is absolutely fascinating.
Great battles out there, Simon, that's for sure. Huttu, meanwhile, out in front, just turned his fastest lap of the race, 128.4. Purdy's fastest lap at 128.7. So Gregor out in front and cruising again. I mean, he just does this race after race after race. So amazing job for Gregor. He's already got this thing locked up. Yet he wants to try to make it 17 for 18. So props to Gregor out there in front and pulling away. Meanwhile, Sean Purdy in the second spot, Ilka Happala in third, Dion Vergers in the fourth spot against, again, Team Orion, second, third, and fourth, making a strong showing here at the end of the season. Darren Marsh in the fifth spot, Alexi Aloma in sixth, Mark Payne having a great run for himself in seventh, Team Podium Assault, Ray Alfala in the eighth spot, and I'm going to let you pronounce that name in ninth, Ian Lake having a good run in 10th.
Okay, that was Jaroslav Honzik, was the name that you could not pronounce, who is busy under attack by Ian Lake and Matt Santel and Brad Davies. And I believe we're just going to cut to it very quickly. Ilka Happala has a little special sign on his car, which might mean why no one's attacking him today, because they're a little bit scared of it.
Yeah, Ilka having a baby about 2 weeks ago, I believe. So he's got a brand new baby on board sticker there on the side of his car. It's hard to catch because Ilka's so fast, but you can catch it there on the side part of his car. Congratulations to Ilka. They are still looking for a name for this baby. So if you guys have any suggestions, please email it in to PSR TV. I'm sure they would love to hear it. We've heard anything from Frosty to Simon to Dave K. But personally, my favorite is Frosty. That's for sure.
As Matt Santel pops into the pits, I think they should call it Happening Happala. That would do. But between Ilka Happala's new one and Dom Duan's new baby as well, I think we've got the next generation of sim racers pretty much under control. Matt Santel, though, the first of the real top guys into the pits for his stop. This is on lap 31, so that's going to leave him quite a lengthy process, or a lengthy third run. I don't know if actually, Richard, are you there? But how would you have done this strategy, and what would you think would be actually the quickest way around this circuit?
I think the fastest way would be to go with 22 balance for the first stint, and then split the final, 2 stints up in half, really, which is pretty much the way that I've gone about the races the last couple of times.
So there you go, sage advice there from Richard Towler, and he knows what he's talking about. As everyone continues to pile on round with lap 31. As I believe we have certain Ryan Murray in the chat box. Oh, everyone's coming in to say hello today. Tell us why you went out, Ryan. We missed it.
Oh, well, I was going up the tip of the boot there, and I just caught the grass with the left rear, and it spun the car around, and it's not fun to spin the car around in front of the whole field. Well,
so, Ryan, have you already gotten a call from Rachel on that spin?
She's currently at work, but she was texting me wondering how I was doing, and she's not too pleased.
No,
keeps on getting on air with me running the car into something else, so that's not fun.
No,
he wasn't texting while you was crashing, was he?
No, that was way after. I did a few laps after I wrecked it, but it was just too dangerous to keep it on the track.
Well, that is definitely a shame, Ryan. You've been coming on strong here. I mean, you had some great runs here in the DWC. You've had some bad luck as well, clipping some grass, clipping some curbs. how do you feel about Team Podium Assault and how they've done so far this season? This is Team Podium Assault's really first big season as far as a huge series like this. How do you feel about that?
I'm really proud of the team. Like if you noticed, I have the Inside Sim Racing sponsorship, and I'm doing that as a thank you to Darren Ganji and John, because they decided to sponsor Mark Payne, who, like you guys been describing, he's doing unreal racing Ray. I don't know if I don't have the game up, so I can't see it, but it's just the team. I always felt that this year would be kind of our, come out of the woodwork and try to establish ourselves, and I think we've done that because if you have Ian Lake, in the top 10 consistently, Matt Santel, a genius with the car, and then Tim Holgate, who I think is our unsung hero with the team because he provides setups that really help out Brian, Mark, myself, George Sandman. Just it's fun. I'm happy for the team. I'm happy for where we're going, and hopefully next year we'll add, I believe, Wolfgang Moger and Michael Hohenauer with DWC licenses, so they'll be up here with hopefully the F1.
Great drivers. Both of those guys are great drivers, amazing guys, so it'll be a welcome addition to the DWC. Talk just briefly about how you feel teams play into this, because a lot of the guys out there that race this kind of discount teams in sim racing and how they work. So how important do you think the teams are? I mean, you talked briefly about how much some of the guys help with setups and help the other guys. Talk briefly about the dynamic of teams in iRacing, and especially the DWC.
I think it's a good thing. Like, there's a lot of people that don't have teams, like Rich doesn't have a team, but we're all very close in the DWC that it's almost one big team, and we get to share setups with each other. But the biggest advantage for teams is that I'll log on to my girlfriend's calling. Hold on, exit that phone. The teams. What happens is if you don't know where to get that 10th, you don't know where to get that last 100th, you don't know if you're taking a turn wrong, you can upload a replay. Like we have a team forum, and then say I upload it, Mark Payne watches it, and he says, Ryan, brake 50 feet sooner, and then coast to the corner. You get that advantage, the extra knowledge that it helps you accelerate up the charts quicker than just doing it by yourself, because sometimes you just don't know if you're doing something wrong until somebody tells you.
Absolutely, for sure. You guys have done a great job this season, and really your first season in anything that's a major series like this as a team, so congratulations to Team Podium Assault.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, just to intercut with some action that's been going on in the chat while we've been having that quite interesting little insightful interview actually there with Brian Moat. Brad Davies has got past Ian Lake, although Ian Lake is now about to have a go back through car 22 all over the back of Brad Davies down the back straight and looking like he's going to pull out and have a little swingaroo. No, he's not. Says better of it, but we've had plenty of people into the pits as well. Basically most of the midfield has been in. Just what John Prater's just leaving the pits now, as is Aurelio Leonetti. George Sandman's been in as well. Plenty of people in and out of the pits, but as ever one thing remains constant, and that is Gregor Huttu is up front. He has popped into the pits now actually on lap 35 of 50.
Gregor into the pits, and I believe we still have Towler in here with us. We've had a question from the fans, Richard. What upcoming features that iRacing has announced that are you looking forward to the most?
I would have to say the Formula 1 car, Spa and Suzuka. They're like pretty much, it's just basically like a dream to have like a Formula 1 car in iRacing, and we've basically got Spa and Suzuka, which are the two best, tracks in the world, in my opinion. Which I just can't wait to get behind the wheel of that car, really. Which I think is happening in November.
Yeah, that should definitely be exciting. From what I've heard, they've done some really good things with that car, and it should be really good with some of the improvements that iRacing has made. Huttu back out of the pits now, still holding his advantage out in front.
No, he certainly is. Dion Verges has also been into the pits as well. Darren Marsh has not, so that's going to be interesting when it comes to strategical value. So who's going to get in front of each other there? And Sean Purdy is in now.
So far we have seen what we've seen all season, Simon. Gregor out in front, running away with it, controlling the pace, controlling everything. Ilka's going to go by, pick up the lead for a lap here, I believe. Yeah, he's going to go an extra lap here. So it appears that Ilka has been running a little bit heavier on fuel, possibly trying to just keep himself out of trouble again. His main two competitors are Sean Purdy and Ben Cornett for that overall third, potentially second spot in the championship, which is where the money is. 10 grand for first, I believe 3 grand for second, and $1,000 for third. So Ilka definitely trying to keep it in the money as he's going to keep it around going through, headed to the boot section of the track now. So Ilka now inheriting the lead once again.
Yep, and this is where strategy plays out. Alexia Loma's yet to pit as well. He's moved up into fourth currently at the moment. And neither, I don't think, of Brad Davies or Ian Lake pitted either. So once they've all finished their second stops, we'll be able to give you a full rundown of the field. Of course, Ben Cornett's eliminated himself pretty much from that third place battle when he went and crashed it into the barriers 18 laps ago, and he joins the list of retirements, which include Tim Holgate, Mauro Bisele, Ryan Murray, who we've already spoken to, Peter Reid, who we've also spoken to, and Gerd Hoffra has also retired. Still 28 cars running. Last of those is Aurelio Leonetti, and he's very much on his own actually in last position currently at the moment, but still 28 running.
Right now, currently showing the championship standings. This is without drops on your screen, so take a look at that. You can kind of see where everybody is at. Root for your favorite guy, or possibly your favorite team. And Ilkka Happala still out in front. Probably going to pit this time by, I would assume, Simon.
Yeah, it's starting to get into the territory where it doesn't make sense to be out too much longer, because obviously you've stilted your fuel, in my view anyway, much longer than anything else. I've just seen Alexia Loma talk on the radio, which I assume means he's saying pit, because some drivers like to type a P before they pop in, some people like to shout it out loud, and others prefer to go secret squirrel and not tell us at all, which always makes for interesting moves. Secret squirrel. When you go undercover. Gregor Huttu never tells us, of course, when he's going to pit. Another one of his little advantages, he likes to hold everyone else. As we pop on board Mark Payne, he's currently down in 14th position at the moment, in car 14 as well. And that looks like a familiar battle with Ray Alfala. These two have been at it like cats and dogs all race long, and Ray Alfala just about holding off there. They've slipped down the order, but that's purely because I think we've yet to see David Searoy, Brad Davies, Daniel Almeida running in 8th at the moment, also without stopping. Backwater and Majon all get to pit, so they'll soon flight back up the order again soon. As Ilkka Happala pops into the pits, and that will relinquish his lead to Gregor Huttu again.
Yeah, Gregor going by, picking up the lead again. He's got quite an advantage over Purdy now, about 12 seconds, I believe. So just slowly stretch that out. Sean did a good job there at the beginning of the race to hang on to Gregor. Sean's only shot, I believe, to pass Towler in the championship points was to win all 3 last races. Gregor is doing a good job, as usual, to making sure that that is not going to happen. So Sean's basically his only chance here of getting into the money is for his teammate Ilkka Happala to have issues in the last couple of races. So far, so good for Ilkka, running pretty solidly in the 30th spot, the third spot, despite being in the pits at the moment.
Excellent stuff. While that was all going on with Ilkka pitting, Alexia Loma was also in, as was Ian Lake and Brad Davies, and they've got out ahead of Jaroslav Honzlik. And we've also had David Searoy in as well. Daniel Almeida's popped in, so I think we're pretty much where we should be. The only person who I can think of that's still out of position potentially are Brian Heitkotter and Martin Majon, who are yet to pit. So we'll take a quick rundown of the order with when they cross the line, and someone's facing the wrong way. I've just spotted on my screen, and it's Jan Ziliakis, car 33, and he's lost it in exactly the same place Ryan Murray did.
Well, that should make Ryan feel better.
I'm not the only ones. And I believe that may well have also been the same place where poor old Peter Reid went as well.
Oh, I had a message. It sounds like Davies is also went around here.
Ooh, and he was on fresh tyres as well, so maybe it just wasn't.
Oh, and he is out of the race, Simon.
Ooh, that's not good at all. That would be on cold tyres. He just pitted along with Ian Lake, and those two were battling like dogs on heat, basically. So that's a shame there for Brad Davies, because he'd really done perfectly well up until that point.
I'm sure what Brad was thinking was that, this is taking a lot of effort. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop this and put my attention towards Towler and the Oval Series next week.
In need of beer, possibly. But Gregor Huttu continues round the gap, now 11.5 seconds on lap 39 of 50, and he's coming around to start lap 40 right about now. So we're 4/5 of the way through the race, 80%, and status A-OK. Sean Purdy is second, Ilka Hapler is third, currently at the moment 19 seconds back. Dion Verges is 4, and he's still got Darren Marshall company in 5. Those two have been having great chopsticks all race. Brian Heitcutter, yet to pit in 6th position, is holding, is just about clear of Alexia Loma 7. Martin Majon is 8. Raoul Falla is 9 with Mark Payne 10. Those two still at it as well. Then Ian Lake is 11. Jaroslav Honzik is 12 with Matt Santel 13. John Prather 14. Daniel Almeida 15. Richard Crozier is 16. David Searoy is 17. Florian Goddard 18. Andrea Boldi 19. Alice Simunek 20th. Matteo Calistani 21st, and they're all still unlapped, which is quite unusual, actually, I have to say, for one of these races.
It sounds like Crozier actually got somebody into the carousel that last lap, so Richard may be potentially going to be dropping back just a bit.
Yeah, he's lost time on Daniel Almeida. A couple of seconds he's dropped back there. He stayed in the same position roughly. But yes, 21 cars still on the lead lap, although Kalistani's only just holding on by a couple of seconds. George Sandman is 1 lap down, 22nd. Milos Milkovic is 23rd. Dave Hoffman 24th. Thomas Brodowski is 25. Jan Ziliak is 26th. And 2 laps down and retired is Brad Davies in 27. But he'll soon relinquish that to Aurelio Leonetti, who is still going in 28, 2 laps adrift.
Time has run out here, Simon, with about 10 laps left to go. Gregor looking like he is going to make it another win in the books. He's already got the championship wrapped up. Some people would wonder exactly what his motivation is at this point, other than to try to make it as perfect as he can. He being in the U.S., from what I understand, this is my understanding of it, he got only about 4 hours of practice, never had turned a lap in Indianapolis before. Had to kind of build a setup on his own, and when I say 4 hours of practice, I believe that's he showed up at the place that he was going to race at 4 hours before green flag. So no telling that if he did a straight 4 hours of actual practice or not. Probably not. So less than 4 hours, and was still able to manage a fourth on pedals and wheels and everything that he was not accustomed to. So somebody's got to wonder what his motivation is. He couldn't quite make it 18 for 18, yet he is still out there turning laps and dominating as he has before.
Disgusting, isn't it? As here is Mark Payne having a go at Raoul Falla once again for 7 and 8. Side by side they go. Payne trying to go around the outside of Alfalla. Alfalla putting his car in all the right places. And I have to say, actually, I know Huttu's gone and swanned it again out front. But this battle between Raoul Falla and Mark Payne, providing I don't commentate curse them and make them go and push each other into the barriers, they get my Drivers of the Race awards for being able to actually have an entire, well, goodness knows how long we've been going for, just over an hour of racing, where they've practically been side by side the entire time, battling and swapping positions. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Yeah, these guys are going to be worn out at the end of the race, Simon. Mark and Ray continue to go at each other. great battle between those two guys, and inside the top 10, not cutting each other any slack here at all.
Not at all. Equally, there's another great battle going on for P12 and 13. Cars 23 and 2, I believe. It's Matt Santel and a certain Martin Majon. And Majon, they're running very wide coming out of turn 1, if we saw that on screen. But he just about managed to hit back onto the track and went, oh, quick, before Matt Santel decided to have a run at him. But that will mean that Santel has had a much better run out of turn 1 up the hill, where the best exit always rewards much better top line speed. The top of the hill, he's going to have to go round the outside. If you can hold it on round there, of course, you've then got the inside line for the next corner. But Matt Santel is not able to place his car in the right place on the track, and Majon is able to cover the inside line for the next turn, and therefore be able to keep his position, which of 12th currently at the moment.
Gonna check some lap times here for the leaders. Looks like Gregor's fastest lap of the race came on lap 28 at 128.4. See if we can get Sean Purdy's fastest lap as well. Let me check on that a second.
Yeah, there's a couple of little sandwiching fights going on. You've still got the Alfala and Payne battle that's continuing to entertain. The fun of that is that Ian Lake is slowly closing down on a lot of them. Then behind them, Jaroslav Honzik has got Brian Heikotter all over him for 10 and 11. And that's looking like a good little ding-dongaroo going on as well. And just behind them, you've got Majon and Santel, and this time it was Santel getting turn 1 wrong, so he won't be able to attack up the hill this time by. And keeping the watching brief, John Prather's just a couple of seconds down.
Just a quick, I want to ask Rich here, he's still with us here in the booth. Rich, any surprises here in this race as you watch this one? Uh-oh.
I'd have to say that it's good to see Dion Verges in 4th place, because he's had some really horrid luck this season. So I'd just like to give a shout out to him for staying with it so long. Throughout some bad luck on the road and the oval side as well. So it's great to see him in 4th place.
Yeah, Dion he's probably one of the hardest workers I know in sim racing. He puts his head down, and it doesn't matter what happens to him. He just keeps coming at it. Between him and the Orion guys, I know he's kind of gone a little bit different way with his setups. He's done some different things to make the car fit his driving style. And in the past 2 races, it's really shown. Right now, he's running in the 4th spot. He's always been kind of a top 10 guy that's finished inside the top 10, but towards the bottom of the top 10. And past couple races, he's been up there battling for the top 5. So great job by Dion, and glad that he's figured the car out to make it towards his liking, and it's definitely showing in his results.
Okay, so there's a good little battle still going down the orders going on, but let's have a quick look at the top 5 as we go. Here is Gregor Huttu as he comes up to a bunch of lapped traffic. Ahead of him he's got Matteo Calistani, Alice Simunek and Andrea Boldi, who are having their own little scrap all the way down for 19, 20 and 21. And Huttu there just making sure that he picks off the cars as he goes and make sure that he keeps himself nicely out of trouble. Calistani moves gently out of the way and loses as little time as possible. His last lap time by was a 129.116. So keep note of these times, peeps, because these are the ones that you're going to have to try and win should you want to take on the Alien GP. Okay, so second place so far is Sean Purdy. Let's take a quick look at him. He's just not long got past. I think that's George Sandman behind him. Yes, it is. And he is 12.5 seconds down. His last lap time was a 128.9. So Sean obviously not giving up, even though he's got a little bit of clear air between himself and the third placed man. He's quite clearly wanting to put in laps.
Alright, running in the third spot is Ilka Happala, trying to secure that third spot or potentially second overall in the championship, depending on what Towler does when he returns. If he can return, from what I've understood, he might actually have plans for the last race of the season and have to miss that. That would be a shame. And speaking of Rich, he is still with us here in the booth. I know Rich has to get going, so we're going to say goodbye to Rich. Rich, we sure appreciate you joining us in the booth today and giving us some insight. And we really hope that you can make the last race and make a race out of it for that second spot overall in the championship.
Thank you.
Well said.
A man of not many words, but they're all the correct ones. And that's what we wanted to know. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have Rich and Brian and Peter as well, all in the box with us. I was going to say, let's continue down with the top 5 run, but screw the top 5 run, let's take a look at car number 8, Raoul Falla, who for the first time all race, I've seen him zigzag down the home straight. Obviously desperate to try and break Mark Payne's tone. Here comes Payne down the outside, once again trying to do the switcheroo almost into the inside for the next corner, but Raoul Falla knows this move, and because Payne has stayed behind him practically all race, he knows exactly what moves Mark Payne's going to do, and therefore can defend them almost instinctively, probably by now, as we're on lap 46 by 50. And so we'll see. If Raoul Falla is able to hold this off, it's been by no mean feat whatsoever, and Mark Payne must be putting blood, sweat, guts and tears into every single chance to overtake. Once again, he pulls up onto the rear and just can't get it done.
Yeah, 4 laps left to go. Huttu on his, well, he's got 4 laps left to go, about 3.5 actually. So those guys, Raoul Falla and Mark Payne, are going to run out of laps to try to figure out ways to pass each other. I mean, like you said, they're probably learning all of each other's tricks by now. They're going to have to come up with new tricks as the laps wind down. Maybe some of them are... one or the other of them are kind of sizing the other one up for a last lap pass, something that the other one hasn't seen so far in the race. So going to be interesting, probably going down to the wire. And not too far behind these guys, Simon, is Ian Lake, looking for one of his best runs of the season in the 9th spot. And I believe Heitkotter had gotten around Honzik for the 10th spot, and they are battling going down the back straight into the carousel, and it looks like Heitkotter might go back past again.
Yep, he got
does.
past 2 laps ago, but Honzik got back through and Heitkotter down the inside, but Honzik's got the inside line for the next corner. He's always squeezing Heitkotter off there, but the two of them, even though Brian gets into all kinds of fun, reminds me, like Kalistani is the other one that gets into all kinds of trouble for no fault of his own, but Heitkotter able to get through but just not able to hold it there. And Jaroslav Honzik here, who I believe we've seen him in one other race before this, has been able to really make a mark on himself here and is going to grab a top 10 finish here if he's able to hold off Heitkotter. That's 2 of 3 great battles. The other great battle is in the third one. It's for Matt Santel and Martin Majon, who are constantly swapping positions as well on and off our screen in the battle for 12th and 13th. So those are the 3 battles that are going on with just 3 to go.
And I can't stress enough, like I had mentioned earlier, that the amount of intensity and concentration that this takes between these guys, these battles will take a lot out of you. I mean, it's 100% concentration and intensity the entire time you find yourself in one of these type situations. And when these guys are done with this race, they're going to be mentally and physically drained, even though it's, you know, a simulator. I mean, these guys are going to be worn out. They're going to want to, you know, maybe have a beer and just have a nap. I mean, it'll take a lot out of you. Heitkotter looking to the outside going into the carousel now.
Yeah, he's trying to go around the outside so that he's got the inside for the next corner, which is essentially what Honzik managed to defend his old thing. But I think, have we just seen Mark Payne? Mark Payne has just got past Raoul Falla for 7th position. And let's see if we can grab that on a replay, because it was just he went round the outside into the carousel and was able to hold the inside line for the next corner. Fantastic. At last, for Mark Payne, breathe a sigh of relief, although not for too long, because Raul Fallow will think about getting a switcheroo back through again next time by.
Yeah, great job there by Mark. And laps are winding down. Only a couple laps left to go now. See if Mark can hang on. It looks like he's put a little bit of a gap in between him and Alfala as they come onto the main straight across the start-finish line. But this has also allowed Ian Lake to close up on these two guys. Ian has closed the door just a little bit, or closed the gap, I should say, to these guys. So one little bobble and Ian Lake's going to be right there.
Absolutely. And we've lost Jaroslav Honzik. He's in the pits, so that's all gone wrong there for him. Maybe it's newbie blues on the fuel, but Raul Fallow there is having a look left and right. Mark Payne goes to the outside because he knows that will give him the inside for the next corner and therefore be able to defend. Now Fallow there trying every which way but loose, and what's Mark Payne doing? Keeping that line open. That's not the way to do it, but he just about got enough speed to hold the line through. But Raul Fallow is not taking any prizes or any prisoners, sorry, as we go into the last lap with Gregor Huttu, and I'll keep my eye on that if you keep your eye on the leader.
Yeah, that last move there by Mark Payne was actually a smart one. He went a little bit wide into that corner, but that's really the best way to take that corner, although it looks like you're leaving the inside line open. It's the fastest way through that corner and you keep the most speed up, so it wasn't all that risky. He knew that he could keep the speed up and keep Ray behind him as they come on to the start-finish line straight away to start their last lap, and Ian Lake continues to close that gap up to those guys. So Ian is hoping to get up there before this lap is over and maybe put some pressure on Ray.
Interesting, they're coming round to lap Jan Ziliaka, so I just saw it spun just in front of them, so that might put a little spanner in the works. But Heikot has now moved into the, obviously now that Honzik has popped into the pits, but it's Gregor Huttu who is coming round the last couple of corners. It has been another very dominant performance, pole position, probably fastest lap, and this is a race victory, 50 laps around Watkins Glen, and the victory is his. Gregor knows it, and that is 15 out of 16 for Gregor. Almost a clean sheet and another fantastic result for the Finnish driver. And
Simon Alfala has gotten back past Payne on the last lap. Only a couple corners left to go. Sean Purdy's going to come second, Ilka Happel third, Dion Vergers fourth, Darren Marsh fifth, Alexei Aloma in the sixth spot, and then we're watching the battle for seventh, eighth, and ninth right now. Oh, and some problems there for Payne. Has he run out of gas?
I think he's out of gas because he's really pulling. Well, he's coasting around and his mile per hour is just dropping one by one. He's not going to make it to the line. Mark Payne is out of fuel.
So Ian Lake inheriting a spot right there. Ian's going to finish up in the 8th spot, going back to Payne, losing quite a few spots.
Heikot is through, Majone's through, Santel's through, Prather is through, and who's that that's now coming round? That's Daniel Almeida going through as well. Mark Payne, Crozier just missing him, and this is tumble top down the order. He's going to end up 18th because the top 18 are all still running, and he's not going to make it back to the pits at 14 miles an hour in time.
Oh yeah, he's not, and if he makes it back at all, tough luck there for Mark Payne for sure. He had a great run, was probably looking at his best finish of the season, and he has stopped out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's going to be 18th, and that is why obviously Honzik needed to pit. He could obviously see that he was going to conk out of fuel and drifted in on his fumes as he's desperately trying. Obviously, if someone could give him just a little tap of nudge, obviously this last corner is banked in such a way he could probably make another couple of miles per hour up and push himself over the line. Is anyone going to give him a little bit of risk their own little iRacing for a little nudge round? Go on.
Well, that's going to take a while, I think, to materialize whether or not he's going to make it across the line. As we're waiting on Mark, we will run down the order here. I'll go through the top 5. Gregor Huttu, another win. Gregor taking the win by just over 8 seconds over Sean Purdy in the second spot. Ilkka Happala, a strong run in the third spot there with the new baby on board. Dion Vergers in the fourth spot, and Darren Marsh in the fifth spot.
And continuing down the order, Mark Payne has now come to a stop and no one's come to his aid, so poor little car. 6th, Alexia Loma. 7th, Ray Alfala. After all that, Ian Lake is 8th. Oh, someone's something alongside Mark Payne. I think we're going to see it.
Oh, is that Darren Marsh?
Yep, it's Darren. This is teamwork. Anyway, continuing down the order while that little thing goes on. Ian Lake was 8th, Brian Highcott 9, Martin Mijaud moved into 10, Matt Tell 11, John Prather 12, Almeida 13, Crozier 14, Onzik 15, Seroy 16, Goddard 17. Mark Payne on your screen will crawl across the line at best, 18. Then a lap down will be Alice Simunek 19, Andrea Baldi 20, Matteo Calistani 21, George Sandman 22, Mijalkovic 23, Dave Hoffman 24, Thomas Brodowski 25, Jan Ziliakis 26, 2 laps down. And then our retirements today: Brad Davies, Aurelio Leonetti, Kurt Hoffra, Peter Reid, Ben Cornett, Ryan Murray, Mauro Bisegli, Tim Holgate didn't even get past lap 1.
Still not quite sure. It looks like Mark might cross the start-finish line here as we were... Oh, it looks like he's come to stop. I think he's going to call it a day. And he has.
Oh, after all that. Well, at least there was a little bit of sigh of relief for everyone that's put in so much hard work and effort to get themselves around. That was an absolute classic race there, Frosty.
Absolutely, Gregor doing what he does, taking the pole, the win, dominating performance, especially with Richard not in the race to maybe possibly take it to him. Sean Purdy did an amazing job in second, hanging on and finishing less than 10 seconds back. Ilkka Happala doing what he had to do to secure a top 3 overall in the series, finishing in the third spot. And Dion Vergers, I believe that is his best finish of the season with a 4th. Way to go for Dion. And Darren Marsh with a little resurgence there in the 5th spot, so congrats to him. Great race out there, guys.
Absolutely, just a couple of stats. There was 4 lead changes there today, and we just had a quick word actually from one of our in-race officials that said a car actually has to finish under its own power. So had Mark Payne crossed the line courtesy of a nudge, wouldn't have counted anyway. Fastest lap of the race was by Gregor Huttu at 1:28.445, so jot that down in your little notepads as a one to beat. And I think that pretty much rounds us up for today. Any last thoughts there, Frosty?
No.
Touché. Well, all that does is leave me to say thank you very much for joining us on today's broadcast. If you liked what you saw today, obviously go across to iRacing.com and sign yourself up. There's always a little promo going on there and there somewhere, so just make sure you catch that. Save yourself a couple of bucks. And of course, you can follow us ourselves, PSRTV, over on Twitter at twitter.com/PSRTV by any chance. Go on, treat yourself. Then, also tune into the action. We've got the ovals coming up at some point this week. The time escapes me, but you should tune in for all of the action there as well. And then you can join us, of course, on the Road Edition in 2 weeks' time for what will be, I believe, the second last race of the season. I can't believe it's nearly coming to an end. But until then, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.